Okay, this is Ice Cube from the forum. Basically, I'm shooting this video so I can get some help on solving a problem that I have. Basically, this is the BMC V2 torque motor. The problem that I had was I recently went on a critical mass ride, and at the end of the ride there were some long hills, and so basically I was stopping at every traffic light because I was riding in the lane, and so on the last light I was at, wanted to go accelerate and I had nothing. So the motor's been sitting around, and I finally get the motivation to work on it, and then, I hit another problem. But basically, I ended up checking the hulls, and I had to replace the hulls in the motor because all of them were shot. Okay, so I replaced all the hulls in the motor, and so I hooked everything back up, and it was still not moving. Tried all 36 hull combinations and everything, and it still wasn't moving. Tore the motor back down again. I checked under the little fiberglass sleeves, and under the fiberglass sleeves, the phase wires had become disconnected. So basically, they were just basically laying in the sleeve. They might have been touching, they might not have been touching. Either way, it was a bad connection, and actually it looks like the solder had reflowed because when I took the sleeve off, solder came out, and then the bare wires were just in there. They weren't even soldered or anything. They were just kind of touching each other. So basically, I redid I redid all of the phase wires. I ended up taking a compression sleeve and compressing the phase wires in it, and then also soldering them in place. So it's definitely a good connection now and everything. I've checked for continuity between the motor case, axle. I checked, continuity for the hulls against the motor casing and everything. The motor is good in my opinion. If there's anything wrong, I believe I glued the hull board down correctly and it's in the right spot, but it may be a millimeter off, but I don't think it would affect the motor that much to get the problems that I'm encountering. But basically, the motor does spin up and I can ride around on it, but if I accelerate too hard, I get the controller loses sync, or if I encounter a hill or something, like if I'm accelerating up my driveway or something, the controller loses sync. It always happens when I roll into it, or basically, you know how you have that amperage spike when you're accelerating. It always happens at the beginning. It never happens whenever I'm at full speed or anything like that. So it's always like an amperage surge or something that causes it to lose sync. But I'm going to spin up the motor and show that it is spinning up correctly. So give me 1 second. Oh, I got to turn the controller on. Okay, so the motor is spinning up pretty good. I also put a metal gear in here, that's why it may sound a little bit louder than it should. But the problem I have, like I said, is losing sync, or basically it shudders or hammers the gears. And the easiest way for me to show this is to kind of stall it against the wall. So like over here, the front wheel will be up against the wall, and you will hear the hammering of the gears, and that's pretty much if I accelerate too hard or coming up my driveway, or basically any time that I roll onto the throttle in a high amperage or high-low situation, I have a problem. And I wouldn't even say high high amperage situation because when I stall it against the wall, it's barely 5 to 10 amps. But I also see it whenever I'm accelerating, and this controller can peak up to like 50, sometimes 60 amps momentarily under load, and then it kind of throttles back down to around 35, 40 amps. The shunt has been modded on this controller, but also the thing about this is since I modified the shunt, as the weather has gotten warmer, my current limit has gotten higher, so I also think there may be a current feedback issue with the controller, where the controller is having a problem possibly clamping down on the phase current or something like that. I don't know, it's just speculation, but let me just go ahead and show this issue. Okay, this is the motor against the wall, and that's the problem that I have with it. You would also think it would be a clutch issue, but it seems like it could be a clutch issue. I don't know, but it seems like it's more an electrical problem than a clutch issue, because if I use the cycle analyst to limit my current, let's say to 20 amps, and of course, you know, for a second or so, the current is left unchecked, and then the cycle analyst pulls it back to whatever it's supposed to be. Whenever the cycle analyst is regulating the current, even if I'm going up a hill, I don't have any problems at all. It's just whenever there's that initial surge or whenever you need that acceleration, and you roll on the throttle too fast, I tend to have the issue. So there seems to be some low end speed sinking, and of course at low speed your phase amp will be the highest, I would think. So again, with this solder shunt, this is originally a Crystalite analog controller that was 20 amps, and when I modified it in the winter, I was hitting like 34, 35 amps, and progressively as it went from winter to spring, the current limit has got higher and higher. So here it is, we have constant 75, 80 degree weather versus the 40 to 60 degree weather we had this winter. So here it is, I have a current limit that's sort of not being checked. You know, the bike spins the motor fine. I mean, and I can ride around on it. It's just whenever I need to, you know, get out of a tight situation or accelerate really quickly, or even just low speed, high low, going up a hill or driveway or anything, I end up having that issue where it shudders very, very badly. I know this is bad on the gears, but again, I have metal gears in there, so I'm not worried too much about it. But that's the problem that I have, and if I can get some insight on it, that would be great. And always, thanks for watching.